Oh, duh.
Use comments. Yeah. Have you seen it?
Yep, I got it now.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Cool.
So tell me, what are the few things that you would like to say about the Biafran thing that you had talked about?
What do I want to say?
What did you read?
Well, the other day, actually, I did not know very much about this. I remember it when I was young, reading it in the newspaper and being very angry,
Mm.
even though I was young. But I saw a video just like 3 days ago, and this guy gave the entire everything that was happening. A very good video.
Hmm.
Anyways, what was your question? What?
That has to do with Biafra. It's all about the election. If you would like to talk about the elections, go ahead as well. Because I know that you know a little bit about the past election, right?
Yeah, I know that the bad guys won. You know.
Oh my goodness.
Well, they
Well,
did.
mhm.
Did they? They did, right?
Yeah.
The same crooked politicians always seem to win in Africa, all the
Yeah.
time.
Hmm.
The people want change. They want their lives better, but politicians tell them what they want to hear, and then they do something different when they get elected. You know?
Absolutely. That has always been the case.
Yeah.
That has always been the case. And when they are campaigning for the elections, they say things just like you said, what they want to hear, and they make
I will
all
give you
kinds of
ice cream.
promises.
I will give you ice cream and gold. You know?
They make all types of promises. They promise us heaven and earth and tell us what we want to hear, tell us what this, that things that make sense to the common man,
Yep.
to the everyday man, things that make sense to them because they know that these are the things that ordinarily they should fix. These are the things that needs to be worked on. Yet they get in there and they forget about all those things and they follow their own agenda because of course they have their agenda, so they just want to
Yep.
follow their agenda.
They like their money.
Oh, yeah, hey, but they can't. That's what usually happens. But if you want to go serve, if you're elected into power to serve, it's for service. It's not to come in there and then begin to oppress the people and
No,
do all kinds of stuff.
but that's the thing is people need to be able to know how to discern between the liars and cheaters and the people that will do the change. But
Yeah,
when you guys had that what was it, the INEC, the
yeah,
that
INEC,
that board that came up. The
INEC,
minute
yeah.
Yeah, the minute I saw that board was coming up, I knew the election would be crooked. Those
See,
boards, those boards are fronts. They are window dressing for the crooked politicians. You know, they act like everything is right, but then those boards do not speak true. They never do. Same thing happened in Kenya. They have the same
exactly.
thing. They have the same
That's
thing.
that's why I wanted Gigi to come up. Let me just welcome a few more people. Oh, experienced Africans, you are welcome. A bell of blessings for you. Oh, Anne's cooking and more, you are welcome. Thank you for coming. Is there anyone else who has come in that I did not see? You are all welcome. Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you so much for coming. All right, Gigi, did you try again? Um, Gigi, did you try again? please, I would really have liked you to come up and talk a little bit about what happened in Kenya. Experienced Africans, you can also come up and talk a bit about what happened in Nigeria. Yeah, it happens in Jamaica as well. Hans Cooking and More says it happens in Jamaica as well. Yeah, these things happen almost everywhere. Where is Gordon? Gordon, would you like to come up and talk about UK? It happens in UK too. It's all over the place. Let's all go up and hijack the LS. Please come up. Oh my goodness. Please
we can
come up.
we can we can have 10 people on the screen.
Yeah, yeah. We can have six right now.
That, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Come
So
on,
then
Gigi.
come,
Get your
come,
butt
come.
get your butt up here.
Gigi, come up. Go hijack the LS.
Yeah, Gordon, come up.
Ah, Gordon, come up, come up. Um, Gordon, that's not fair. What did he say? So I did not sleep. I was monitoring all the things that happened. I tell you, but you know, on the day, I think the results came in like 3 days later for presidential election. 3 days
Gordon.
later,
Yeah.
things. I mean, the result that was supposed to be up immediately, because it was done through
Exactly.
Beavers, and
Yep.
the senatorial whatever came up, the other one came up. How come it was just the presidential one that refused to go up?
I wonder why.
Exactly. Something must have transpired, and what transpired was what eventually came out. And videos were all over the place, videos of people, because people had to use their phones, to take videos. People that were at polling booths and all that, how it was going, they were uploading videos. That's why the social media helped a lot in what happened. Yeah, they were uploading
For the
videos, and everybody all over the world were all seeing what was going on, even uploading the results too. And then finally, 3 days after, these people came up, and it's just so sad. It's just so sad, and that's why I didn't want to. Okay,
I get I get the same way with all elections. You know,
yeah. Okay, I'm
I
gonna
pay too.
bring up. I'm gonna bring up someone now. I'm gonna
You
bring
want
up.
me to?
Oh, is. I think he's trying to come in. He's trying to come in. Experience African. So you were saying something, Stephen. Please go
I was,
ahead.
I was just saying that I always get upset at this stuff. I watch this stuff all the time. Like an idiot. I should stop because it upsets me.
No, but if even as much as I was upset, but I couldn't stop watching. Right?
You
It,
have to st- you have to stay informed. You know.
yes. One has to
It,
stay informed. That's why I had to, I followed the whole thing. I just did not transmit it because I wanted to transmit it just the way I transmitted the Queen's burial and all that. But I was just too upset.
yeah.
I Oh my goodness. I was just too upset. Godin, someone is saying something to you. Prove yourself wrong today. Godin, prove yourself wrong today. Godin, you don't think I won't turn? Okay, there's a whole lot of conversation going on. Um, Go hijack the LS. Camera shy, Scotland's most wanted. So hiding from authority. No way. You are kidding. You got to be kidding me. Okay, I see you. I see you, Sakina. Yes.
Yay!
Finally. Hi.
Hi, hi,
How you
hi.
doing, guys?
You are
Look
welcome.
at her. Look at her. She is in orange. She is in prison.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you too. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it is. It is. Hope everything is going on well. What happened in Kenya?
Okay, that guy was working with a tour company, traveling company. Then there was this. It was this time of elections, and the guy was celebrating after the main elections, the presidential elections.
Mm-hmm.
After people have voted, so the results came out, and there was this guy that he really likes, and then he started going on the streets making video on how excited he was after this guy won, you know and he was in his uniforms. He was
Hmm.
wearing a shirt that is written the company's name and that traveling company. So people are so bitter. You know what? The next day he went to work, and he got a letter that he's fired.
Are you kidding
Because
me? So they fired him.
yes, because it's a big traveling company in Kenya, you know. So he was fired because of that. But for me, he was not right. It's good to celebrate, but not in public, especially with
with
uniforms,
with
with your,
uniform.
yeah. So he was all over the bloggers. He was all over on the news. This guy got fired because of this, and it was so bad. But the guy was celebrating.
Did you see? Did you see what Stevie was doing?
The guy was celebrating, like he was just celebrating. He didn't know that
My cheese puff.
that was the day. That was the end of his.
I'm just a clown.
He was doing in the streets. He was in the streets of Nairobi. He was doing video. He was like doing video, taking video of himself and saying, "Yes, Ruto is the president, the current president now." And Kenya is divided. There are some who likes this guy, and there are some who don't like this guy. And you don't know if maybe your boss doesn't like the current president. How can you go on the streets and start shouting and taking video of yourself shouting at, like, oh, this guy won, I said it, and he was talking shit. He got fired. He got
Who was
fired.
the Who was the good guy? I forget.
Which
What was
guy?
what was the name of the guy that we wanted to win?
In Kenya or in Nigeria?
Or
Kenya. Kenya.
the
Kenya.
guy the guy that won the elections, or Mr.
No.
Ruto?
No,
Yeah,
the
that
one
was
that
No,
that.
no.
wanted to win.
They said that he won, but we know that the truth that he didn't win that elections. They stole it from Mr. Raila Odinga. So
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
yeah, they stole it
Yeah.
from Mr. Raila Odinga. Everybody knows. And right now things are not good in Kenya because the economy is now bad. It's worse. It used to be bad, but now it's worse because everything is is so bad.
That's
What
what
does it?
usually happens. It's what usually happens. They come up, they say all kinds of things, they give
The
you,
the
their
the
manifesto.
manifesto that they come out with, they don't even fulfill after they get the chairs.
They
After
follow
they
their
do
own
so,
agenda.
yes, they just come
That's,
out. Oh, I'm gonna make, right now as we talk in Kenya there is no free education.
wow.
No free education. But it used to be, kids used to go to school with no, like, they don't pay school fees for government schools, but right now they pay everything,
Yeah.
everything. I'm telling you.
Meanwhile, the manifesto, did he promise he was gonna implement free education? He was gonna continue it.
This Mr. President, the current one,
Yes.
he promised people a lot. Like, he was like, oh, when I get this chair, I'm gonna do this for the youths. I'm gonna give funds for youths to start business, and I'm gonna create more jobs for the youths. But he hasn't done shit. And instead, he came out with this idea of, he's giving out like $8, not even $8, like, let's say $6 to each youth. They call it Hustlers Fund. So if you take
six
that
dollars.
money, $8, and they're asking people to take that $8 and start a business, what kind of business are you going to do with $8? Then you will refund that money with extra money. Like, when you are returning the money, you will have to, like, add something on top of it. He's just for himself. He's just there for himself. He's not there for people of Kenya, because even right now, food in Kenya, the prices are high. People are on the streets every day, every night, crying, like, they want this guy out of that seat.
You know, this is it's just like the same blood running through the African countries. It's not only Africa. Things are happening in the UK as well, like we saw earlier on. Let me welcome experienced Africans. Experienced Africans, you are welcome.
Thank you
Thank
very much. I do appreciate. Hello, Steven.
Hey,
Longest
nice
time.
to nice to see you.
Hello, Lillian, and hello, my beautiful host. Like
Hello,
always.
hello,
Hello,
experience.
Yoga. You
Welcome.
are welcome. Thank you for coming, Yoga. I see.
Thank you so much.
Yes, hello, yoga.
Yeah. So, the
Yeah.
topic politics in Africa or politics worldwide. Which one are we basically discussing?
Well, it's topic. It's I started with politics in Nigeria, and I didn't want to get it deep into it because I'm still very much emotional about everything that happened, right?
Sorry about that.
And
Okay.
then as I was talking about it, politics started coming up from other
Parts
countries.
of the world.
Kenya, Jamaica came up, UK came up. So
So, this specifically is a topic that it's very very sensitive.
it
Um,
is.
uh, what we say or do sometimes would either trigger a negative or a positive influence.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I don't think that there has been any perfect democracy before, and because it's a system that is already set upon, uh, I'll say, policies that are not really transparent. It's
Yeah.
actually supposed to be a system that is transparent. It's actually supposed to be the will of the people, but the way and manner it is designed is not something that looks like something that eventually can be transparent. Why do I say this? Um, in elections, we're supposed to have either an open ballot system where people can be protected and can go out and cast their vote for who they want to vote for, and it can be counted openly, and we'll know that this person has won an election and this person has lost in that election.
Mm-hmm.
But there is so much room provided for irregularities. And this room starts from the campaigns, from even acquiring the form to participate in the election. Not everybody is even allowed to just go and say, okay, I want to contest for this position, which is supposed to be a free will. You have to have some certain amount of money, some certain kind of qualifications before you can contest in an election. And this makes it very difficult for a lot of people who have genuine interests of the people at heart to participate in these elections. Number two, we go to the campaigns. Um, Campaign is supposed to be something where I just come out and I tell you what I want to do as my manifesto, and you appreciate it and accept it. But we have seen that campaigns have become a system where people will make t-shirts and give to you, and give you handkerchiefs, Maggie, and so on and so forth. So it has become something that your conscience is easily being bought during that process of campaigns. You are not even given the freedom to choose based on the fact that you appreciate this person's manifesto and you want to see that your country change, or the policies change, or your governance change. So during the campaign process is another system that is being used to buy out people's conscience and rig elections. Thirdly, we come to the umpires of the elections. The umpires of the elections are elected by people who are already in government. There is no clear um, pattern or system that says this person is credible, so he should be the head of this particular body. It is a system where I am the president, I have a friend, or I have somebody that I believe is qualified, and I decide to appoint him to make him the head of this electoral body. So once you make such a person the head, he must dance to the piper, because the piper, he pays the piper, the piper plays the music maker. So you must dance to his tune, you know. So in so doing, a lot of things have made it impossible to have fair and credible elections. Thirdly, there's a lot of voter intimidation, whereby I say the security agencies, the same way the head of the electoral body is elected, the same way the security agencies are being run. In Nigeria, we have had where somebody who is a retired general is the head of the Nigerian customs. You know, the two of them don't go, they didn't have the same training. Customs is customs. People should be allowed to go through the ranks to get to the top of their profession. But you pick somebody that you feel you want to favor, and you don't have a room for him in a particular segment of politics, or in governance, or in whatever it is, and you put him on top of people that have been trained professionally to do their jobs. So a lot of favor is being done. The wrong things are being done right from the grassroots and up onto the highest level of government. Uh, Thirdly, we have to talk about this election process. At the year 2022, Nigerian can afford to make beavers and IREFs. And if you can afford to make beavers and IREF, even the smallest tablet for a kid can take fingerprints, can take data. A child can play and point at any given art design in color, in all sorts of things. Why don't you make the beavers in such a way that you can accredit the voter? If you can do the accreditation using the person's thumbprint, why don't you go ahead to use the same tablet that you have designed as a beavers machine or as an IREF machine to cast the elections? But you did not do that. You have to go back to paper. At this point in age, you have a beavers machine that does accreditation, but election voting should be done on paper, which already it's something Nigerians should have not accepted at first. You
See,
know, yes. And if you can do accreditation, take pictures of a person who is going to vote and use his fingerprint, why don't you just conclude by putting the voters' details, the parties to be elected on the same machine, so that somebody can just use his fingerprint and cast his votes? So it's already a flawed and pre-designed system. Thirdly, even if the votes were counted by paper, uh, INEC already had assured people that these elections will be in real time. And once it is done in real time, people are going to upload the results. The same elections, we had three candidates for each party, or three seats for each party: the House of Reps, senators, and also the presidency. And you elected and voted and counted votes. When you were uploading for House of Reps in different 36 different states plus the federal capital 37, all those results recorded were uploaded. When you were recording for senators in all those constituencies, all recorded and were uploaded. But in the same 36 states, 100 and 107,944 polling units, you could not upload for the president at the same time. But for other positions, it was uploaded, which means that there was actually something to be questioned. And
Okay.
with all speculations, with all people giving all sorts of ideas and comments and saying this was done, this was done, it was an intentional move to rid the people of their rights and of their votes. As a Nigerian, I feel so pained, and there is nothing I can say that I think will change it. But the only thing I know that I have the power to do is that I will continue to speak out, I'll continue to educate, because the more people become educated, the more people become aware of their conscience, the more people become aware of their civil responsibilities and will begin to act in a way that we get to a point where justice can prevail, fairness can prevail. But as it stands now, it's a very difficult situation. Even though some people are agree and say they are going to the courts, eventually it all depends on what happens at the court. But we know that even if the justice system is elected, somehow manipulated by the same people who manipulated the election. So it's a very
Yep.
difficult situation right in time. You know, the people have spoken, and the people still have the will to speak again. And where they have the right to speak again is by going to court, challenging whatever is happening in court, and expect positive results. But in reality, the system of democracy itself is a scam.
Yeah. Thank you so much, experienced Africans.
Yeah.
All
Thank
that you have said, I'm definitely on your side. We are all saying the same thing. Before you came, Stephen had expressed his disappointment in the, the umpires. He had expressed his disappointment in the umpires, and you came and you said the same thing. I had also said the same thing before you came up concerning the umpires, right? And we also talked about how it took them 3 days to upload the results for the presidency. Meanwhile, the House of Reps and Senators, they were all done at the same time or the same day, the same method, the same material, the same electronic material, the same papers. How come the
Same
results
internet,
of these two people,
same
these
internet.
two
But
sets?
but but mind you, it's not like they couldn't have announced the elections earlier. It
Oh,
was
of course,
just it was
it's
just part
just
of the script. It's part of
it,
the script
yeah,
that we make it look like it was difficult. It's part of the script. Let's make it look like it was difficult. Before we could access and get things done. It's not like they could not announce the elections. If they had really planned to rig that election, I'm sure they had even done they had rigged the election even days before even the election. So it's not like they could not do it, but they were looking for a way to make it look like it was a difficult situation, and people have to understand that this is difficult. My only challenge is that if INEC give guidelines that if this is not done right, we're going to visit this thing and make sure that it is right. Why did they not go back to visit, since people were complaining that it was not right, and went ahead to announce the election? Uh,
exactly.
One of the things that I know with Nigeria is that even when there is such an incident, most times the tribunal takes about 60 days, to 60 to 90 days to finish its first sitting. And when it is done, people can still challenge it at the Supreme Court. So they knew they wanted to buy time. They wanted this particular person to be in position as the president of Nigeria, whether we like it or not, for a particular period of time before, even if it is annulled. If it's annulled, then their goal has been achieved, because by that time so many things would have also been put in place. He would have come in, started his own parliament, started his own restructuring, or changing the system of government, putting his own people in place
Yeah,
before even you can take him out. So even at the time you take him out, he has already established a system that is loyal to him.
yeah,
So it will make governance unbearable and ungovernable for even the person who is coming in as the new president if he eventually loses. So it's a pre-designed setup.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm rather feeling bad for Nigerians as at this moment, but I still feel so strong because the more we get aware, because awareness is key.
Yeah.
Once you educate a person, you educate a whole entire generation. He's educated, definitely his kids will be educated, definitely people around him, when he interacts with people, he will re-educate those people. So the more we educate people, the more we come out to speak about it, the more we make programs and enlightenment campaigns by ourselves. It's the duty of our government, sometimes through the orientation agency, to do such, but they don't do it without sentiment. So we have been given a platform. That's why I really, really thank God that I found social media. A lot of people see it as something of age, something that is for the teenagers, people who are uh, like jobless, people who don't have things to do. We can rant here and there. But at the end of the day, whatever we gain here is something that is going to keep empowering us day in, day out. And the
Yeah.
results of social media is one of the impacts that we have felt in Nigeria today. We have had so many places, chances where Nigerians have come up to speak up or want to put up a campaign, but because we didn't have this access to social media, it was cut short and untimely it failed. But nowadays that we have social media, Twitter, WhatsApp, TikTok, and the rest, you can see the impact. Peter Obi started his campaign just barely some months before the election, and he was able to make this kind of impact.
Yeah.
Particularly, I want to make sure of this, and this is not attributed to anything but the fact that the youths now have access to the social media. What they hear on social media, what they see on social media, what they discuss on social media has been able to make this impact. So social media is a great tool for a lot of us to use to make the world understand that so much injustice and unfairness, irregularities, and uh, dehumanization is being done. Putting a country of what over 200 million people in the hands of someone that less than 10% of the population say they want, less than 10%, actually is very, very sad. Less than 5%, actually, less than 5%. He won the election with 8.7 million votes, and that's less than 5% of a whole population deciding who leads them. Very sad.
It's extremely sad, and that's why I've not been able to, really, because when I start talking about it, I get sentimental, I get emotional about it.
No, these are not moments we should get
I
sentimental.
mean, I
These are
get emotional.
moments that we should, yeah, these are moments that we should get more encouraged. A battle is not won in a day. Mandela did not become the president of South Africa when he started his movement. Eventually it has become what it has become. Today we also have another movement, the ANC in South Africa, that
Yeah.
is already also in another movement and are trying to change certain things. They might not have all the doctrines that we want or all the perfect things, but they are setting a pace. And Peter Obi is on the right direction. He might not be the president, but he might be a leader to an eventual true democracy in Nigeria. That's what
Yeah.
I see. So if people are beginning to see right now, I have never seen where a party goes to another party to canvass for them to give them their support in elections. A party you said was structureless, a party you said was four people tweeting in a room, is now being called upon. Please, if you don't have a candidate in this position, can your people support me so that I win my election? It's very, very unheard of in any part of the world that I know. Right now, I don't know if it is alliances that they are forming, but the truth of it is that there is a new movement, a new line of hope for Nigerians, and Nigerians have to stand up for it and face it the way it is, and and support it and work hard at it, and not just support it, but work hard at it in terms of continuing to create awareness about the reality of life. How much is 20,000 when they give you to vote for a particular person? How much is a million naira when they give you to vote for a particular person? When the million naira cannot buy you food for a whole year to sustain you, and you have sold your conscience for 4 years, sometimes for 8 years. So we have to get this awareness going, and we pray that things become better for Nigeria.
Oh, amen. Well, talking about the awareness, yes, that's why I said before you came in that the social media has really helped in, you know, the time that we find ourselves in right now. The media is a powerful tool, and it's like it's in the hands of nearly everyone who has a device, a mobile device. So which was why the events that took place on that day of election, we were able to see most of those videos that were uploaded, and even people were even uploading results as it was supposed to be open ballot, and votes were supposed to be counted at the polling booths, and people had to stay. People stayed, so there's still hope. There's hope. What I am really really happy about is because at the time hope was lost, right? At a time, hope was lost, totally lost. But after what happened about, was it 3 years ago, the Lekki toll gate event and all that stuff, it's as if a new Nigeria has rose from that point, and the youths are all up and going and picked up hope again. So there is hope. There is hope
Yeah,
again. And
yeah.
so,
Talking about the toll gate and this particular incident, they are just a replica of each other,
yeah,
and nobody ever expected that you to rise to the extent that they will shut down a whole Nigeria. And Nigeria was shut down, and because this happened within this dispensation, a lot of people expected that during this election, youths were also going to act. Because this particular party identified itself mostly with the youth. So there was a bit of bitterness already in the youth, and they were expecting that since the government did this to us, we can retaliate by doing this. So was Peter Obi's vote based on the fact that Nigerian youths were already angry and it was a ripple effect of NSAS, or was it that people were tired of the system and wanted a change? These are some of the things that we need to also consider, because two events happen within the short period of time,
yeah,
and have really made a great change within the Nigerian Republic and in Africa as a whole. These demonstrations were not only done in Nigeria, we saw it in Ghana, where also Ghanaian youths trooped to the street to protest the system in Ghana and their government and things that were happening to them. So Nigeria is seen like a prototype in Africa. They call us giant of Africa not just because we are just big in size and population, but because a lot of people look up to Nigeria for a lot of things. I remember growing up as a kid, I had teachers who were from Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, Ghana, and so on and so forth. So there was a time most people were trooping into Nigeria. And at that particular time, we had where Nigerians were schooling abroad and also working abroad, but they were all thinking of relocating home because life was good. So if Nigeria gets it right and the country becomes very, very good, definitely you will find a lot of Nigerians who have moved out come back home, and you find people trying to look for us in our country to do a lot of things. Secondly, I always say some people in Nigeria, or how do you live as a Nigerian wherever you are? How do you act and protect the image of Nigeria? Right now, we have a president that a lot of people are trying to call him, or are calling him names based on precedences, things that have happened in the past. You know,
yeah,
uh, it was also in Kenya, there was also protests. Kenyan people are still protesting. Okay. So there was a time that Nigerians were celebrated all over the world. You could travel without a passport, as a Nigerian citizen. You could travel and get all sorts of privileges being in Nigerian. Today, being a Nigerian, even with your passport, even with your documents, you are still in fear, because you could be maltreated at any airport, you could be harassed at any airport, you
Oh
could be
yes.
denied visa entry into any country. This is only due to the fact of the image that we as Nigerians have portrayed. We have seen that some of our leaders have been so corrupt, so even our readers are not highly respected in certain places when they go. I have a video on my channel where Tafawa Balewa visited the United States of America, and you could see the parade that was given to this man as at that point in time. He was speaking, and you could see the attention. And today, our presidents will visit a particular place and are not given the same kind of treatment based on the impression, based on the integrity that we have created. Now we have somebody who is in government who is being published to be somebody who has been part of a drug cartel or a drug baron or whatever it is that they say. How do you think Nigerians will be able to travel with freedom? You know, people will begin to see us. If your head is at this position and you still elected somebody who had criminal records in the past, you know, so it's we are tarnishing the image of the country by ourselves, and we are not looking at how investors will come to invest in our country. You know, if you are looking for somebody to lead you, you need to find somebody who has bilateral agreements, bilateral understanding with fellow other nations, because for you to develop uh, there should be trust, except if we would have to deal with people who have same kind of attitude with the president-elect that we have in our country. But if you have the general world to understand us, to relate with us, then we need to have somebody who is compatible, competent, sorry, and also credible, you know. So now this is where we have found ourselves. It's sad to say it, but the reality of it is Nigeria need to redress, rethink, and rearrange itself for the whole world to see that we are really for change and we are moving towards change. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, experienced Africans. You have really spoken a lot, and you have spoken, you have spoken the minds of a lot of people out there, and the youths, and all of us. You know, because this is these are what we are thinking right now. It's worldwide, it's global. Everyone is saying the same thing. Everyone is, thinking something has gone wrong somewhere, which we all know that actually something has gone wrong somewhere. You understand? So I had asked at the beginning, which way forward? I really don't know what they are going to do now. I know that some people are calling for alliance, because I heard one of the presidential candidates, you know, talk this afternoon. I heard him say some things, and you know, they are more tending towards calling for alliance and all of that and all of that. So we really don't know what's going to happen next. And then talking about going to court, it's still the same system. I don't know if the system has changed now. The judiciary system, I had said earlier on that politics affects everything, because politics is the government, right? Politics leads to the leaders that are in government at the end of the day, and whatever is in the, whatever affects the government will definitely affect everybody else. Will affect private sectors, will affect um, commerce, will affect individuals, will affect families, will affect everything. So if at that level some things have eaten deep into the system, have, like cankerworms and caterpillars have eaten deep into the system at that level, then I just don't want to say some things, but most definitely it's going to affect other sectors, right?
First of all, Nigeria needs to have a free and independent justice system. first things first that needs to happen to Nigeria, if Nigeria really needs to change, is to have a free and fair justice system, a system where the government of the country has no right in appointing who is the chief justice of the country. It doesn't have to be based on political parties. The justice system is supposed to be independent and entirely independent of itself. If Nigeria can get that right, it will be the best thing that would ever happen to Nigeria, because everybody in Nigeria feels I am above the law, I can do what I can do, and nothing would happen to me. We've had a lot of people call for restructuring, and it is not a lie. For a country to get to the stage that we want to have freedom, we have to have morality, we have to have loyalty to the land. When you say you pledge to Nigeria, your country, to be honest, loyal, yeah, and just. So if you pledge these pledges to your country and you don't have the freedom to be yourself, how can you be loyal? How can you be just? And how can you be free? You cannot. So the system has to be restructured. We need to have a free justice system where even the head of the country is scared to be in the trap of the justice system, because he knows he doesn't have control over the justice system. The boss of INEC today can feel above the law because the system that puts him into the government, into the position he is the same system that controls the justice system. So even if he's wrong, he knows he can go scot-free. A lot of things happen during these elections. We have seen people who have intimidated fellow countrymen at polling stations, and nothing has been done. We've not heard of anybody going to arrest them. We have seen where a councillor a local government chairman went to a polling unit, was picking ballot papers and tearing them. That story has not been heard of up until now. Sometimes early this year or ending last year, there was a big arrest of drugs, heroin and cocaine in Nigeria. Very, very large amount. I think that is one of the largest that I've heard of arrests, probably globally. And nobody has heard of this issue since that arrest up until today. I have been waiting to know more about it. I want to follow up on the issue and know what happened to these people. Who were their sponsors? Who were they working for? Nobody ever had anything about that arrest. I think Dino Malai posted that thing on Instagram and Twitter again today. Was it sometimes yesterday? This is because the system and those who are in positions are put up based on those that are at the top. And if those at the top are part of it, there is nothing you can do. There will be arrests just to make us see that people are working, but at the end of the day, there is no prosecution. Sometimes there are these arrests, and like they said, and verbally it's just on TV, and there are no arrests there. We had issues of change of money where a policy set by the government. Yes, I believe in the policy of change of money. I really appreciated it, even though the outcome was not exactly what I wanted. But the idea of changing the money was at least a good one, because at that time we were facing a lot of insecurity. People were actually kidnapping and demanding ransom. So a lot of people had actually stacked money, cash, at home and in bushes and in socceries and so on and so forth. But even with the change of money, have we heard of any real arrest of people who came in to change this money and these monies were traced to those kidnaps? We haven't heard of anything. So what is the reason for even changing the money in the first place? We have not really seen that particular reason come to fruition. Sometimes I think it was a decoy just to deter the people, to make people feel like something was going on, while the rigging of the election was busy being put in place. It was a distraction for me, for Nigerians to concentrate on money, money in the bank, money there, or to concentrate on no fuel to travel, and so on and so forth. So I feel there were some distractions that were set in place for somebody to do this in an election. They have a plan, and they had to follow their plan by the way they did. So Nigeria, to get it right, has to start from number one, like I said, whether it's restructuring or not restructuring, the justice system has to be free and fair. It has to be independent of its own. It should not be controlled by the federal government or the state government or whatever government it is. It should be something that it's on its own, and they should act based on the capacity that they have. Once we have these three arms of government being independent of their own, we will begin to see a lot of things work in Nigeria, because there will have to be accountability, and this accountability will go from one position to another, in which people will begin to see that there is development. That's the only way forward for Nigerians as at this moment. And for most African countries, the system has to, justice has to be free. It doesn't have to be controlled by the central or the federal government of any country. That's one of the first things that I think needs to be put in place.
Yeah, I believe so too. I believe so too. Because if the judiciary system is independent, then wouldn't have there wouldn't be a case of, or let me even take us back a little bit. You remember when, after the military junta, when the trials, they set up different bodies to start trying, people who had erred, who had committed all kinds of atrocities then, or who were tools or machineries to the then government. A case in study, the Abacha junta then. You remember how all those bodies that were set up, to independent bodies that were set up to try people and all that and all that. So, but the judiciary system, it has to be independent for it to succeed, and for nobody to be above the law, actually, because as is, it's still the same set of kind of people, the same recycled kind of system that has put this system in place. And until that system is adjusted or dismantled, or I don't know how, whatever is going to happen, so that it can stand on its own. Otherwise, it's still the same set of people who have these people in their pockets. And how is that system going to work if these people still have them in their pockets? So perhaps I don't know how that is going to happen, but it has to happen. But what I know is that the youths are up, as in the hope is high. And we have to keep that hope high everywhere, all over. And I keep saying one thing: Nigeria does not lack human resources. And I don't know why, as we can see, Nigeria does not lack human resources. There are competent people who can handle that country, like we have seen now. But the same people keep recycling themselves. This person has been two-time governor, he's been two-time senator, he's been two-time, and we can see the physical person. We can see that the person is not. I don't want to say some things here, but how come, is it people pushing him to go up there, or what? I don't understand it.
African politics is by money, and the reason is because, like I said, uh, from the design of democracy, most especially for our democracy in Nigeria, it has been designed in such a way that you need to have money to run an election, because you need to brand things. This is the only first time that we have seen that somebody came for the position of the presidency, and we didn't see him distributing t-shirts and bags of rice and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Cannot categorically say they were not done, but I know that personally, I can say he didn't do them by himself. Maybe
Mhm.
people in support of him printed t-shirts and caps and other things. Why can't we go through elections without all these things and start having a different thought? Somebody, because he was just given a pickup with the name Peter Obi or with the name Osiwaju or with whatever it is, he becomes a member of a particular party because maybe he didn't have one to wear before. Somebody did not have. I saw a video about a guy that said, as long as you give and poor northerner a packet of spaghetti and a bag, a sachet of Maggi cubes, in far Kano, they would definitely vote for you because they don't have it to eat, and if you can provide it for them, eventually they feel like you are the hero, and they eat it one day and the next day it's gone. And they forget that after eating that, they're going to go back to being who they are. So it's a system that's already put in place. I'm super happy one of the youngest, and if not the youngest senator, is a YouTuber. You might not know him, but he's from Nasarawa State. He's 35 years of age. He has about 9,000 subscribers on his channel, and today he's the youngest senator elect under the party of Labour Party. It's not about him having money. It was about he was in the right place at the right time. He was in Labour Party when there was a movement for Labour Party to um, make a revolt, and he eventually won his election. He's now the youngest senator in Nigeria at the age 35. He's from Nasarawa, like I said.
Oh,
So
that's good.
yes, so it's not like he had money. He doesn't even have as much subscribers. His videos don't even have too much of views. I think the highest view he has is about 8,000 views on his channel, which he made a video about China taking over Africa. You know, and I have been watching him. I didn't even know he was a senator. I only saw his tweets on Twitter, and saw him congratulating himself on the feat achieved as the youngest senator ever elected in Nigeria. And
Wow.
I can probably tell you this guy won this election based on the fact that he positioned himself very well. And Nigeria, like I said, is on a river. But apart from people like him, we've also had people like an Okada rider who became also a member of House of the Reps, from a nobody to a somebody. Until Nigeria gets to the level that nobody's begin to celebrate and begin to become people in the society, politics and corruption and rigging in Nigeria would continue to exist. Imagine if we had um, like 60% of this kind of guy who was a nobody who have become a somebody be, begin to be 60% in the Senate. They will begin to make laws that affect their people because he knows where he's coming from,
Yeah.
and because he has faced it, he wants to elevate the poverty of his people. And if he doesn't do it, and Nigerians say this group of people that we put them that are nobodies have not done it, we need to make a change. They begin to become scared because they were there because people wanted a change. And now because they are not trying to do good, people are going to change them. So people begin to feel that they need to be accountable for where they are and the positions they are. So until Nigeria gets to a level that I can contest election without needing to have money to sponsor anybody, I can become elected without needing to print a T-shirt and a banner, and also without needing to make too much of posters. It's by me selling my manifestos and telling people that I will do this as a matter of fact. And if I'm going to go ahead and do it, I should be able to be voted. So we're going to get to that level, and eventually things are going to change. The movement has started, and
Yeah.
they said there's no smoke without there's no fire without smoke. And once you have already smoke, it's easy for you to have a fire. But when there is no smoke, there can't be fire. So we have to start from somewhere, and we've started.
Yeah. I'm happy about those people you talked about. And you see, the thing is, when someone whom the people believe in comes up, like Peter B came up, everybody everywhere came out and supported, right? Everybody, even the people in diaspora, people supported because they believe that this person can deliver. Because yeah, we believe that he can deliver. Is why people supported and people rallied around and people were doing things on their own because of the hope that we have that this person can deliver. So there are people like that.
Yeah. This issue of support, even when Buhari came out for election, he said he didn't have money. The Meshai contributed. They were buying recharge cards and sending to this same election. So when people want a change, they really want a change, and
Yeah.
you should not be the one to drive them of their change. If he was deprived by for his own change, when Nigerians wanted a change and they said we don't want PDP anymore, it's not like they didn't really want PDP. There were people who wanted PDP in millions, but eventually uh, he won the election, And President Goodluck Jonathan, as at that time, said, My political ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. And so he said, if you have, in fact, even before the result was clearly declared, Jonathan said, picked his phone, called, and told Buhari, congratulations on your elections, because he wanted peace and he wanted to just say, I have done this. I don't see any reason why I should be killing myself doing this. If Nigerians have decided, okay, so may it be. Congratulations, President elect. You know, but today, it is a different case for Peter Obi. The same way he came out, like Buhari came out, it's not like he doesn't have the money to spend, but he said, I am not going to buy my way in. I want to go in there by the people. If you want a better future for yourself, you're not voting me as president, you're voting me as your leader. You want me to lead you, please vote for me. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. If this is not working, why is it not working? We can make it work in a system, in this system. So Nigerians had sympathy for him and felt we need to vote this person for a change. Thirdly, one of the reasons I supported Peter Obi outrightly, I don't lie about it, is because I have always had this feeling that if Nigeria is a country that belongs to all of us Nigerians, an Igbo man has ruled, a Hausa man has ruled, an Igbo man has ruled, a Hausa man has ruled. Sorry, a Yoruba man has ruled, a Hausa man has ruled, a Yoruba man has ruled, a Hausa man has ruled. Why is it impossible to allow an Igbo man to rule? Is he also a Nigerian? If he's a Nigerian, then he has the right to participate, and if he wins, should also be given his mandate to rule. But some people are of the negative opinion. They say an Igbo man can never rule Nigeria. Once you give an Igbo man, this would happen, that would happen. So there are a lot of people that are sentimental and skeptical about having somebody being an Igbo man rule in the country called Nigeria. But the reality is that not all Igbos are the same. We have had Nnamdi Azikiwe lead Nigerians and they did not divide Nigeria. So there are people who will have their opinions. But until we accept each other, until we change our narratives, until we change the system of justice in Nigeria, a lot of things will continue to go on wrong. And this is what this man is saying. When I come in, I need to change. I might not change it in a day, but with your help, I'm sure I'm going to change it. So Nigerians need to look deep into this. And now, sometimes I say it's like crying over spilled milk, because getting back this mandate is not an easy task. But there's nothing impossible with God. And
Yeah.
uh, I also sometimes try to make this statement. I don't know if it's right, but I see that Nigerians, we claim to be too much holy. We are the ones every day in church. Some of us did not even go for the election. We went for prayer sessions for the elections. Yes, it is good to pray for our country, but I think those timings should have been pray when it's prayer time, go do your election when it is election time. Like the Bible says, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God.
Because
You know,
there's a time for everything.
so there are some people who were really lured into saying during the election, we will be praying, we will be praying. Yes, it's good to pray, but prayer without action is a waste. And every time anything happens bad in Nigeria, they say, go and pray. There are countries that don't believe in our religion. There are countries that have different other religions, but they pray and they also do the right thing when it's time to do the right thing. You know, so why can't we do the right thing when it's time to do the right thing? And we always say, just
What's going on? I think it's the network. I think it's the network. Sorry about that. I think it was the network that is that got him frozen, or the bad network. Anyways, I hope that you will be able to come back again. Uh, Let me see if you're able to. Yeah, the link is there. If you're able to come back again, please come back. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
yeah,
welcome.
sorry. I think it's from my network. So
Okay.
sometimes this is how it happens.
It's
We need
okay.
to we need to always make sure that we as individuals, I keep saying this over and over again, what do you do as a Nigerian that protects the interests of Nigerian and reflects the image of Nigeria? You have to be in that position that you are also protecting the image of Nigeria. The more we continue to protect the image, the more we begin to become good citizens of our country, the more people begin to see us with value and respect us in whatever we also do. You know, but when we ourselves are not straight, and we're talking of the electoral bodies being not being straight, people would, is it not you? You guys, you're the same. We're all Nigerians. You're the same. You know, so we need to also change the narrative ourselves by being better Nigerians in wherever we find ourselves, whether it's internationally or locally or wherever you find yourself. We also need to change the narrative about what people think about us as Nigerians.
No, of course, the the government is not just a body that is just there. It's the individuals that form
Make the
government. Yeah,
government.
it's the individual that form leaders and all that. So, and leadership, to be at the apex of leadership, you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere and build up. So yes, everybody is involved. Everybody has to be involved, and it starts with the family unit and grows, and that's it. And also the parents and all that. So it affects. That's why I said every part is affected, including even the nucleus, the family unit. You know, bringing up a child, the parents are involved, the teachers are involved, everybody, the whole community, they are all involved. Everyone is involved. You know, for one to grow up and then begin to take up the position of leadership, and to even grow up to the extent of being at the apex of leadership. So everyone is involved. And so when it comes to nation building, it's not something that will be left for, say, an individual or a particular set of people, or
Yeah.
no, these are the people, or no. Okay, you said something about, you touched on the belief that, why is it that Peter Obi can't also come and lead as a Nigerian, since we're all Nigerians. People from the north and the west have been there, and now is time for this someone from the east, and people are saying no. If you allow an easterner to come up, and they might divide Nigeria and all that stuff. Thing is, every every tribe in Nigeria, if people begin to say, "Oh, if we allow an Easterner to come and rule, he might divide Nigeria." Every tribe. If you also allow a Northerner might have his own agenda, like people are saying, right? If you also allow the Westerner, you also have his own agenda. For example, the one who just won now has a Muslim ticket. He has a Muslim ticket. So we can as well say, oh, perhaps his agenda is to come and Islamize Nigeria and make it an Islamic state. So anybody can come up and say anything, but we cannot be acting based on assumptions, based on, oh, if, or what if. In fact, the things that have happened that brought Peter Obi on and thus far just signifies that Nigeria is going towards the right direction.
I think your audio is muted. I don't know. You're still muted. because I can hear you, but okay, now you're frozen, so you need to refresh. Okay, now you're frozen. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. She's trying to refresh and get back. Gigi's Wall, thank you so much for your time. Good night, and hope to see you soon. Hello. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Yes. Excuse me. You're still muted up until now. You're still muted. And it is not showing that you're muted here, so I don't know what is happening. You still need to refresh. Just refresh. Just press the refresh and then join in again. So while she's coming, thank you so much, guys. I see you, Cindy Styles. Good to see you in the house. I also see you, Sister Anagbe. Good to see you. It's been a while. Also, I had